If you're just being diagnosed, it's really hard because you've got lots of thoughts going through your head. First thing, why me? And my view, well, someone's got to get it, and it was me. But it's you've got to be, well, you've got to try and be positive. I think that will come through. Hopefully, it will just be a couple of months, then maybe a couple of months to get your fitness back, and you can carry on where you left off.
I think probably the best advice for any man going through testicular cancer treatment is to open up and talk to your family and friends. Try and plan around your treatment and involve as many people as possible.
I think it's a bit about understanding yourself, being aware of what it is that you feel, being aware of how you relate to other people, maybe reflecting a bit on your life, thinking about the things that you really enjoy and that kind of give you a lot, thinking about the things that also might be quite difficult or that challenge you, and allowing yourself a bit of space to feel those things actually. And also being willing to kind of work against that idea of put on a brave face, bury your head in the sand, those kind of really traditional ideas about what men are supposed to do, and actually think about it more as, I'm going to have the courage to address a problem, to acknowledge a problem if there is one, and to try and do something about it actually.
I mean, I was 32, I was married, I had 2 sons, so it was probably a lot easier to accept because I've already done the manly thing and I'm bred. But I think if you'd have been younger, say 16, 18, it's probably a hell of a lot harder to handle emotionally because maybe you've got no one to speak to. It's not the sort of thing maybe you want to talk to your parents or your mum around, and it's not something you're really going to discuss with your mates at school or college or university or even the workplace or wherever. So you might feel more isolated the younger you are, and I think that's one of the big problems, especially for the younger person, is to deal with it. And they're thinking, well, as a girl want to be with me, I'm not a man anymore, and there's all that side.
I think I broke down. Well, no, I know I broke down. I guess I was incredibly upset. I was standing on the street just wondering what to do with my life. Or not wondering what to do with my life, but I was worried about things automatically. I think everything had been so rosy up until that point, and life had been pretty good, and I was young and healthy. And then I realised I had a serious health issue, and I was worried about how far it spread. So I guess I stood on the street for probably maybe an hour or 2 before I called anyone. And I eventually called my brother, actually, first.
Naturally, being diagnosed with testicular cancer means there's probably a range of people around you who are affected, actually. They may be family members or partners or close friends. In terms of advice for those people, I think sometimes people can get caught up in a cycle where both parts, the person who's diagnosed or being treated and the kind of loved one, are both trying to protect the other actually by not talking about it, by putting on a brave face, by pretending to be strong, pretending in some ways not to be affected by what's going on. Whereas probably at some level both know, well, this is affecting both sides. So the patient themselves may well be saying, well, I need to pretend that everything is okay, I need to pretend to be strong because I don't want to worry my kind of loved ones. And again, the loved ones are feeling, well, perhaps I don't really have a right to feel troubled by this because it's not affecting me, directly, personally. Perhaps I need to pretend again also that I'm okay, that I'm fine, so as not to worry the person themselves. And I think in some ways both of those things can be quite unhelpful at some level. So I would encourage both sides to try and find a way to talk to each other a bit about what's happening and to be honest with each other, to try and share this experience in some way, and also to try and find other people to speak to.
Through the whole process, the emotions were pretty much up and down. I mean, certainly at the beginning, for the first week or 2, I found it very difficult to deal with it and wasn't come to terms with it. Almost defeatist really with the whole situation.
I was diagnosed on a Monday, and the previous Monday we found out she was pregnant with her second son. So it was quite a emotional roller coaster in the period of a week. One minute it's great, you're going to be a father again. Next minute I've got cancer, am I going to see him be born?
It had a big impact on everybody. That was my mum, because my mum came to stay with us for 10 weeks through the treatment plan, And yeah, it was something that you just, unless you go through it, it's very hard to put it into words what it affects people as.
My parents found it quite difficult, naturally, because they're watching their son go through something that's really traumatic. And I think, like any parent, you don't expect your child to face or go through a serious illness. Having said that, my parents are fantastic and were able to adapt. So yes, they were sad, and yes, they found it upsetting watching me go through it. But after the initial shock, that's it, they just got on with it. They just thought, right, this is what we need to do, this is how we're going to support you.
During that period, you know, I got support through Orchid. I met with Colin, who came around to see me. At the time, I think, where I was very low, I wasn't really being open about what was happening, wanted to just shut myself out and deal with it. And then suddenly realised that there were other people that had been through it, other people that had gone through it, in some cases even worse than me, and realised that you know, that people were there if I needed to speak. And so that absolutely made a huge difference.
You must focus on that it will end and you will get through it, even though you will get days when you think you won't be able to. And I think you've got to focus, whether it's, I mean, for me it was focusing on my young children, my family, and to push me through. It might be for some other people, whatever motivates them to keep living. You've just got to cling on to something and hang on tight, and eventually, you know, I'm living proof that you will do all right. You've just got to believe that, even though it is very hard, and I'm not saying it isn't, but you will get through it.